And we're back. This time, I'm not starting the video at nullsec space. I am searching for it at the request of one of my followers. And while I'm talking about my followers, I'd like to thank the one person who said I have a soothing voice. That was nice. I've been told different things, that, you know, that I have a southern accent, and I've been told that I have the perfect radio voice. At this point, I don't know who to believe, but I do appreciate your compliment. Thank you. I think that if my voice sounds soothing, then that is owed probably in large part to the fact that I'm calm, and I myself am at a peaceful place. This is, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this is really calming and puts me, it's kind of my zen in a way. So that's cool, and the reason I even make these videos is to share that with you. I actually started making videos because I have a little brother and sister that I don't get to see very much, and sometimes I imagine myself talking to them, or whatever. These are also just sort of the internal monologue, as well as a chance to explain to you what it is that I do. From what I have gathered from people in my corporation and such, okay, so I can ignore that result right there, is that I'm pretty good at exploration. So anyway, you wanted me to find a wormhole, and this is how I find wormholes into nullsec, where the exploration is very good. For about 3 weeks I stayed in nullsec between videos, so whatever you saw in my last video is what I did pretty much for an entire month. Now, for security purposes, here's the part I didn't show. I was in nullsec. I'm not going to say where, but basically, if you want to do what I'm doing, you go to, I mean, did I say nullsec? I was in low sec. I was in low security space, where the Concord police don't bother you all that much, although there are gate guns, which, if you've been engaged in some criminal behavior, they'll fire on you, and they'll zap you pretty fast. So I was in low sec, and I just scanned down a random wormhole into nullsec. This is nothing special, but I am in wormhole space. Wormhole space is really different because there's music. The tone of the music is shifted into something a little more ominous. The space itself is extremely dangerous. We're gonna label this wormhole while I'm just kind of looking around doing nothing. Wormhole to lowsec origin, because that's where we came from. I can't do relic sites though, not here, not yet. I'm gonna get a Tengu pretty soon, and I don't know if that's gonna work or not, but at the very least I want to be able to bring my corporation with me into a place like this. I think that would be really cool. So anyway, I know I keep going off topic, but basically we're not in any rush. You know, we don't really have any kind of schedule or agenda here. We're just looking for nullsec. That's our only goal. So if I find a wormhole to nullsec, that's cool. Even though I'm an explorer, I unfortunately have to ignore the relic sites, because like I said, in wormhole space, relic sites are extremely dangerous. They would probably zap me in an instant. I'm sorry I couldn't show you the portion of the hunt where I was in low sec, but again, for security purposes, I just I don't show that part. I'm happy to show you, whatever the hell system I'm in, and I'm not even afraid of you seeing the chat. I try not to show the chat too much because I like to protect the identities of my courtmates and their behavior. 9 times out of 10, they're not doing anything where you would see something that would compromise corporate security, but there is that chance that they would say, hey, I'm moving this there, where that's very rare. They almost do that exclusively in TeamSpeak, but it's always better to err on the side of caution, because this is a game about catching people in that split second where their guard is down. So you're kind of always role-playing in that sense, where you don't want people to know, like, you want to control everything. It's kind of fun, to look at this gaming world like that. And what I think is unique about EVE is that you're always playing in that cutthroat, do or die scenario, and I think that as an achievement in video gaming is just really the high watermark when it comes to online multiplayer games, because that's what every game designer that ever created a massively multiplayer online game wants, and CCP really pulled it off. And they're constantly fine-tuning it. I mean, just between this video and the last one, I'm sure my interface looks different. So, props to them. Oh, I didn't change I don't know what you call this. The formation. See, every time you're trying to narrow down your scan here to a tighter and tighter resolution is what it's called. And that's determined by the number of astronomical units at which your probes are spaced apart. So right now they're spaced apart at 2 astronomical units, presumably from the center core, or apart. It's just really a measure of their spacing, so we're going to ignore that, and then what we're going to have to do is blow up our resolution back to 4. That's still not high enough. 8 should probably do it, even though 8 still doesn't perfectly encompass this big red globe. We would go to 16 for that. So what the hell, let's go to 16, and then we can skip a resolution and drop it, instead of going down to 8, all the way down to 4, which is the default. If you click the pinpoint formation, it sticks it to 4. So what we'll do after this scan is we'll get our red dot, drop it down to 4 astronomical units, spacing in our formation, center it on that dot, and then I center it, save a lot of time by just double clicking the dot, and then it's in the center of your screen, and then it makes it a lot easier to sort of zero in on your scan. And rather than shifting this down, I could just click that, and that shifts it down back to the 4 like I wanted to go, because that's the default setting. You can change those settings. You can create different scan patterns, but this is the one that just works best right out of the box. And if there is a better one, I don't know what it is. As far as I can tell, people had to build this before they made it a default setting. People were building this anyway, like on their own, and if you watch the older videos, they're like, yeah, and I did this. So we didn't find. Anyway, if you watch those older videos, they sort of show you, like, I found that this works, and there'll be some kind of weird box design or something. Anyway, we're going to decloak, which is very unsafe, especially out here at the Wormhole, but we have to do it. Just to reload our probes. I should have been using the micro warp drive. We're going to let it burn one time. Again, this is really dangerous, but the odds are pretty low that we're not alone. Okay? Then you can cloak up, and you can actually burn one more time after cloaking, as long as you do it within 5 seconds of cloaking. And I do that to get the most speed out of the ship, and also the safest vector between me and the wormhole, decloaked. It's never a good idea to stay decloaked. And I could decloak one more time and burn one more time, but I'm just gonna let it run. It really doesn't matter at this point. I think you enter the wormhole like at under 5 kilometers, so we're about to jump into it, and then we're gonna come out some other place. I'm not even bookmarking this. I've reached a point where it doesn't matter, because what I'm doing now is I'm just jumping wormhole to wormhole in this diaphanous network of wormholes, with the goal of just getting the hell out of wormhole space altogether. And now what we did was decloaked for just a second, burned our micro warp drive, launched the probes, and then immediately cloaked back up. Alright, so there are my probes, just kind of like these white spots. They're chilling right now. They're waiting to be warped out. And I tell them where to warp. Right here. This is a great big region of space. And one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to send them out in a spread formation just to kind of make it easier when I run my second scan. We're going to do it like that. I don't think that's entirely useful because, whoops, some of these don't meet it, see? Some of these are barely even touching. So it never hurts to do this. I usually don't do this, but we're going to do that. Just to kind of see what different results it gives us. I wouldn't really be able to tell the difference because it's such a small change. But when you're out in space like this, you look for little ways to sort of make it different. Alright, now we've got a big old field of dots here. And what I like to do, I didn't used to do this, but I found that this is kind of, it helps you cover a little bit more ground faster when you're looking through all these wormholes at the same time. You just try to get as many of these dots and lines into your scan as you possibly can. And that should work right there. That should be good enough. Oh, and one thing I forgot to do, bookmark this. Wormhole to wormhole. That way, if one of my searches comes up, I can safely ignore it. And in fact, I'm pretty sure it's that red dot right next to it. And we're orbiting the wormhole we came out of because that's safe. At 70 kilometers. You like to do 70 because you figure most people are doing all the way to 100, or right onto the 0, or at 50. I figure 70 is probably the least used number. And it's also pretty high and a safe distance from the wormhole, so you don't accidentally bump anyone. I just ran another scan, and I'm pretty close to 2 of my probes, right down here next to this wormhole, so that's why they showed up there on my D-scan, directional scan. I try not to use as much lingo, as little as possible, because I respect that probably most of my viewers might not even know what this game is, but definitely most of you don't play it. And before I got into Eve, I found that one thing that put me off was everyone was using abbreviations, lingo, acronyms that I didn't understand. And I found that the game is a lot more interesting when people are actually spelling out what they mean and by what they say. So, I try to do that. Not only for you, but for myself as well. It's good to be a good speaker. On the subject of speaking again, I'm actually feeling kind of nauseous because I took a Benadryl. I took 2 of them, and I've been drinking a lot of coffee. And so talking is kind of taking the piss out of me right now. I might have to end this early and pick this up again. Basically what I'm looking for is, whoops, I went way down. Okay. A wormhole out of here and straight into nullsec. That's like the best thing we can hope for. That's really the only thing we can hope for right now. I would even ignore a wormhole like into another part of lowsec because that's not as useful. We're finding a lot of wormholes though. So we'll scan this down, fly out to it, and see what it holds. I mean, and on the subject of lingo, once again, we're not exactly flying, okay? We're commanding a vessel. The lore goes that, ooh, look at the shape of this star. It's glow, that's cool. The lore has it that, see how big my ship is? It's got all these little lights and windows. My ship is, I'm the commander. I'm not the pilot, I'm the commander. Okay, and I command this vessel across space. In a small ship like this, there would still theoretically be between a dozen and 150 crew on board, who, if I died, they die with me. So, Billy thought it was really funny, like, that that's the case, because we're basically these gods just flying around the universe. Commanding people that don't even matter enough to name. Alright, let's see what this is. Unknown space. Alright, what I'm going to want to do, really, is just fly out to a planet. Maybe one of these way outer planets. Ooh, this one doesn't even have moons. I'd love to see this planet with no moons. Maybe it's a rocky terrestrial. It's a pretty long flight. There I go. I just zipped off across the map. Again, while this scans, we're gonna close the map and kind of see what our destination looks like. It's a dead terrestrial. It's got a customs office. Aegis Requiem, that's probably a real group. Staffed by humans. People. Real people. It's such a big game. There's so much to do. That's just what I love about this game. There's so much to do. Okay. You're always learning.
Warp drive active.
We're just gonna keep scanning, keep searching. Let's see what kind of wormhole we found. Ooh, so out there a star has exploded. Or maybe it's a pulsar. Is it in motion? Wow, yes it is. That is beautiful. Okay. And there's another star. And yet another. So this is a 3-star system. Incredible. A trinary star system. Now which one did I just scan? This one. Wait, no. I'm already here. Did I scan it? Lowsec. Okay, so that takes me back into lowsec. Jeez. Alright. And I was scanning this, I think. They're just talking about ships. Nothing really too damaging. I won't check that chat again, though. It has nothing to do with me. Oh, here's another relic site we can ignore, even though ultimately that is what I'm looking for. We're just gonna check these last 2 dots. I think it's only 2 more left. Go back up to 2 astronomical units. And fire that scan. Now they're warping. I remember when I first started playing this game, that noise of the warping and Particularly the warping. The scanning not so much is cool, but the warping just really fascinated me for some reason. It caught my wonder. Oh shit. I am decloaked for whatever reason. That could have been bad. I wasn't paying attention. Just cruising around. Fucking decloaked. Alright. Jeez, I'm still not finding the thing. This is very unusual for this to happen twice in a row. You know what? Let's just leave it there. Let's see what the scan gives us. Gosh, I'm getting sleepy. I'm not even thinking. The data site, of course. Alright. Oh shit. Alright, they're shutting the servers down. So, okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and just warp into a wormhole. We're gonna warp out through this one.
Warp drive.
And when we come out on the other side, we'll fly to a planet. Oh shit. Call those drones back. Probes. They're probes, not drones. There are drones in this game. They're very cool. I've never really used it successfully, but I do have some. Okay, here we go. Unknown space. Here we come. This was not our origin hole. This is just a new hole. And we're going to keep jumping network to network. All through this network of interconnected wormholes in unknown space. There's a kind of romantic thing about unknown space. It's just really, you never know where you are. You don't show up on any point on the star map. Okay, we're gonna jump out here. Okay, look, there aren't that many planets here, are there? 7? That's normal. Alright, we're gonna jump out at 70.
Warp drive active.
We're just gonna warp right back up. Just wanna descan and see what's out here. There is something out here. I've never seen one of these. The Vargur. It looks badass. It looks like a gun. Your gun-shaped Marauder ship. Looks pretty cool, so. Okay, we're way out here in the far reaches of the solar system. There's nobody on my scan anymore. We're just gonna point at the sun. And we're gonna log off. And if you've never done this before, to log off safely. No, you've seen this before. We've all seen this. And Eve is just a very beautiful game. Really. I mean, what awesome graphics. Thanks for watching. It's been fun. We'll pick this up later. Until then, take it easy. Peace.